Trump, I mean, he's kind of changes his mind on one day to the next what he's going to do. He talked about bringing this war to an end in 24 hours. Then it was 100 days. And then it was, well, we're days away. And now then the days have turned into weeks and there's still no end to that. But some of President Trump's biggest political allies here in the United States seem to have radically different views about what's even possible.
Today, I stand in support of a sovereign Ukraine and echo the president's call to Putin to stop this bloodbath that never should have happened. This is an issue that not only affects a close partner under siege, but also the strength of the United States of America and the security of the free world. So is Iran and North Korea. And of course, Vladimir Putin is watching too. They call it the new axis of evil for a reason.
First of all, there are no hard facts in her comments. She's just blathering. And it's very easy to blather in the American political context. But what we need is some hard facts here. She needs to tell us how we can defeat Vladimir Putin's forces on the battlefield or how we can stymie them. She has nothing to say about that. It's just empty rhetoric. And let's face it, Danny, we live in a world where we basically create our own reality. I think there was somebody who was affiliated with the George W. Bush administration who used exactly that language. He said, we've reached the point where we create our own reality, and that's the world that we're in. You can invent facts, you can invent stories, and it's hard to knock them down because they move around so fast and so many people glom on to those false stories that it's hard to challenge them. And if you do challenge them, it's hard to do that in the mainstream media because people like us are X'd out of the mainstream media. But even if you do, when you're finished challenging these made-up stories, they're on to a new made-up story. So this just goes on. And my sense, just watching all this, is that most of the people in Washington are divorced from reality. And this is why American foreign policy is in so much trouble. We lose war after war. It seems like we have the Midas touch in reverse. Everything we touch goes to hell. Something is badly wrong here. And when you listen to the senator speak, it's not hard to understand why, at least in my opinion.
And what do you, is there anything that you see a risk besides it's just, political blather, just made for clicks so that her videos can go out, or maybe it makes some of her financial backers happy? I don't know. But when you say things like there is an axis of evil, a new one, and it's all these powerful nations, Russia, North Korea, Iran, etc., does that have any consequences, even if you're not talking about reality, on the recipients? Does that have any actions when it happens?
Yeah, they laugh uncontrollably. That's the main consequence. They're just laughing uncontrollably. Here's the United States of America. It is supporting a genocide in Gaza, right? We are supporting a genocide in Gaza, and we have a lot of help from our European allies. Yet we are the good guys, and we're dealing with an axis of evil. Excuse me. The hypocrisy here is stunning. These people ought to look in the mirror. Has Senator Ernst complained in any meaningful way about the genocide in Gaza? No, she's probably applauding the Israelis. So when people start talking in moral terms, where they're good guys and bad guys, and we're portrayed as the good guys, I laugh loudly, and I'm sure that the Russians, the Chinese, the Iranians, and people all over the world laugh loudly. Outside of the West, most people think the concept of Western civilization is a contradiction in terms. And how could they think otherwise when they watch us support a genocide in Gaza that is visible to anybody who has access to the internet, which includes a huge number of people?
Well, unfortunately, I've got some more laughable material for you coming, but I want to look at one more thing that Senator Ernst said in that passage right there, because then she says it is imperative that Ukraine win this war because the principles that founded America are at stake.
Today, Ukraine fights not only for its own survival, but for the very principles the United States was founded on. When America leads, the world is safer. When we disengage and when we retreat, like we saw for the last 4 years under the Biden administration, chaos fills the void. Russia's aggression has already cost too many innocent lives, about 5,000 lives every single week. Too many innocent lives, folks, which is why I support President Trump's efforts to get a peace deal done now. Vladimir Putin cannot keep tapping the United States of America along.
The question is, how does the senator reason that we can win in Ukraine? Well, what's the story that she has to tell about how we can win? And as I said before, she has no story at all. Furthermore, we have to listen to these comments like the Biden administration was an isolationist administration. It was pulling back here, there, and everywhere. I would remind the senator that it was the Biden administration that started the Ukraine war. And it was the Biden administration that wants to continue the Ukraine war forever and ever. There is no evidence that the Biden administration was interested in retreating from any of the commitments that we have around the world. If any administration is interested in doing that, it's a Trump administration. And I would add that Trump's instincts in this regard are basically smart. We should do everything we can to end the Ukraine war and greatly reduce our footprint in Europe. But that's Trump's view, not Biden's view. So this whole business about accusing the Democrats of being a bunch of pussycats and isolationists at heart is a joke. It's just not serious. Again, this is the discourse that we have in the West at this point in time. And as I said to you, this explains in good part why we go from one disaster to another on the foreign policy front.